But anyway, that was almost a cartoon unto itself. We're going to make this as brief as possible, because, number one, the main reason we're here tonight is to pay homage to a whole group of wonderful people. Art Scott is so kind, he did research this, and he took a lot of time to do it 1,800 years ago, and a lot of you, of course, were just coming to Los Angeles at that time. Remember, Dr. Fitton gave some dignity to the future. He invented a device that whirled around a drawing of a bird cage on one side of a card and a bird on the other. The spinning gizmo he called a thaumatrope. And made the bird appear to be in the cage as it would spin around, of course, and this closely was followed by a series of famous men experimenting and inventing devices to achieve motion pictures. Now, these are some of the other ones, and maybe you know about them: the phenakistoscope, the zoetrope, the praxinoscope. I'm not sure. I think my doctor in my physical gave me all of these. Never trust a doctor who, when you remove your clothes, puts on a Guy Lombardo record and asks you to dance. That's what I always do. So anyway, all of these inventions helped in the development of photography, and inventors such as Thomas Edison found fascination with the cartoon art as viewed through his kinetoscope. So you, of course, all know what happened there. Now, what we would like to pay heed and pay homage to at the same time, as World War I burst into flame, as the 20th century round the motion picture world developed cartoon and live combinations such as Gertie the Dinosaur and Winsor McKay, of course. And World War I burst into flame, the animation industry began to flicker, and formal cartoon studios were taking form. Historic pioneers such as Roald Barr and John Randolph Bray and Max Fleischer and Paul Felton and Earl Hurd and Pat Sullivan and Wallace Carlson and Paul Terry and Charles Bowers. Some continued into the 20s, plus newcomers Walter Lantz, Walt Disney, Harmon Ising, Ub Iwerks, Bill Nolan, Charles Mintz, Van Buren, Leon Schlesinger, up to the early 30s, where the new art industry grew from the depths of the Depression. Well, right now, this is an interesting segue, because everybody who worked into the early days of cartooning in converted warehouses and broken down walk-up office buildings, old garages, all have rare memories to share of those very special days of animation and washing and recycling old cells, right? Paint mixing and homemade camera stands and makeshift animation desks and the first scripto pencils and two-hole peg systems and reinforcement stickers and a partridge in a pear tree, and all part of it, right? All part of a catch-as-catch-can system of making cartoons from New York to Kansas City to Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. 41 of those pioneers we honor at this banquet tonight. Some have been saluted many times over for their outstanding achievements, while others are long overdue. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in his first command performance of 1984, it is my pleasure, as you look toward the stage over yonder, to introduce the one and only God. God.
Thank you very much. It's a celestial pleasure for me to be here. Pleasure for me to be here, paying tribute to all the best animators in the world. You know, I got my start as an animator. I drew two people together, Adam and Eve. And that started a whole new comic strip, Adam and Eve, the Fig Leaves. Today I asked my assistant, St. Peter, to drop his trumpet and play the piano. You would know him better as the writer of Blue Velvet, laughing on the outside, crying on the inside. And there she is, Miss America, Bernie Wayne. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, back to heaven. Here we are in heaven, and living among us up here along the Milky Way are some of the best cartoonists in the past.
They took a tale from old Aesop and Grimm, added gags, hoped it up to the brim.
King and queen, you loved her, hated him. That's animation.
Hey, it's you, baby. It's you.
They drew a mouse, or a dog, or a cat in a house, or a cave, or a flat.
They drew a clown, had him fall on his prat.
That's animation.
From Blackton and Barr and old Windsor McKay, McManus and Cole and John Randolph Bray.
They came on strong with each graphic display. Sullivan and Bowers, Mesmer, Hurd and Powers.
Thanks to them, for they all led the way. Pioneers.
Yes, the greats of their day.
They were neat. David Dietich would say,
Along with their staff, they made the world laugh with animation. Betty Boop from the Fleischers was cute. Popeye's toot from his pipe was a beaut.
Talk cartoon brought a howl and a hoot.
With animation.
Parrotville, Toby Pup, Little King, Tudor Tales. These were Van Buren's things.
Slapstick jokes, all the rocks they would bring. With animation. These two, Flip the Frog, Willie Hopper, were neat.
Their crazy moves were a visual treat.
I Work stuff made you fall off your seat. Oswald and Snappy were always slap happy. Charles Mintz, Margaret Winkler had wed, had 2 kids. Kids that had to be fed. Crazy Cat helped them bring home the bread. And wouldn't you know, they piled up the dough with animation.
Terry Toons, good cartoons from producer named Paul.
Gandy Goose on the loose, Oil Can Harry and all.
There's Cubby Bear, see him having a ball.
A big giant, isn't he? Well, so was Walt Disney.
Steamboat Willie
Got things going with sound. Donald Duck was the best quack around. Lots of bones came to Pluto the Hound. Thank you, Mickey Mouse. You filled every house with animation. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now, what do you animators work with every day, day in, day out?
Storyboards, layouts, in between flipping, old moviolas for viewing and clipping.
Pleasing the boss when the telephone rings.
These are a few of your favorite things.
Backgrounds and truck-ins and pans by the dozen, giving a job to the new boss's cousin.
Always redoing the cells that she brings.
These are a few of your favorite things. Beat the deadline.
Meet the deadline.
Married life's no snap. Your wife's always waiting while you're animating and working with all this crap. Joe Barbera and Bill Hanna, which one is the top banana?
Bernie. Bernie Wolf and Virgil Ross are always scrapping with a boss.
John Genentella, funny fella, Bickenback and Paul Fennell.
There's Ed Lovin, Harry Lovin, Emery Hawkins, and McHokey. Like Jack Kinney, he's so hokey.
Eric Larson, Irving Spence, their artistry is so immense.
Ray Patterson and Silverman, their pencils weave a magic spell.
Stop the music.
Yes, yes.
Don't forget Rudy.
Rudy who?
Samara, Samara, we love you, Samara. You're only a sketch away.
And Bobby Bentley, Billy Carney, James Colhane with his Blarney.
Baron Ozark, Richard Hall, and there's our pal Wilfriedel and Paul.
And we all like old Jim Carmichael, Eddie Reinhardt's magic tones.
Carlo Vinci is a cinch. He always comes through in a pinch. He like Lou Zucker, Nick Tafuri, and Lou Appet draws a story.
Here at Chuck and there at Chuck, and one is Couch and one is Jones.
Now we corral old Howard known as Cal. He's everybody's pal. 'Cause he's made poor producers loads of money.
Big Lars born, and those tall tales he's drawn. Frizz Freeling still goes on. Dave Tendler, Eddie Friedman still think funny.
Benny Scheckman, Carl Urbano, Jackie Zender, Mano, Bernie Wayne, and Sidney Miller want this song to be a killer. If some guys we've overlooked, does that mean that our goose is cooked? Hope not, hope not. That's all, folks. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Wait, just one thing. After all, he isn't here tonight, but let's have a hand for the fellow who gave us all his input, Art Scott. Let's hear it for Art.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sid and Bernie. Very well done, as always. These two men of music have been, of course, making quite a career for themselves around Hollywood with their melodious magic, as you know. By the way, as Sid did open the whole show there with his marvelous George Burns, it is George Burns' birthday today. Did you know that? Yeah, 1898. George, let's give George a round of applause, and a new cigar, too, by the way. I remember George Burns telling me some years ago, I emceed a banquet for him for the Variety Club at the Beverly Wilshire. He was 4 years old when he first started. He used to sing on street corners in New York with a Pee-wee quartet. And they would stand there and people would watch their Pee-wees, I guess. I don't know. But he's certainly come a long way. Anyway, I'd like to point out that Sid and Bernie have done a spectacular job around Hollywood. I was with them when they did the great Henry Mancini, a marvelous salute to Henry Mancini, and a great riotous roast to Milton Berle, too. So we thank you for this marvelous mass musical salute to our honorees tonight. It's a good thing I'm not in radio. I could talk here.